everyone. I just knocked Justine upside the head. That's why I gave her a little virtual knock upside the head. That's why you saw that camera action. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone, or afternoon, depending on where you are.
Could be in the future. Justine's in my future.
True.
How sweet am I? You're my future, Justine. I'm good. So today we are here with Justine. And we are here for any Q&As. Hopefully you had a minute to watch her presentation this morning, and you can come, and this is the time to put her on the spot, ask her any questions. So I will sneak behind the stage and I will throw up any questions as they come up, so you don't have to try to read the comments, talk, and hold a card at the same time. All right. So without a further ado, bye-bye.
All right, everyone. Good morning, and welcome. So today, I got to make sure, because my webcam here, that it doesn't get all blurry. This is the card that I created for the summit. It has a fun belly band. So this comes off, and you can open your card and watch people, like, I don't want to say awkwardly fiddle, but they're always like, I don't want to break it. It's fun to watch anyway. And then on the inside, it pops and twists, and you can put whatever sentiments you kind of want at this point in time. But, you know, it's so fun. I think these cards are crazy fun, and they look really complicated, and they aren't. So I hope my presentation was nice and clear and easy to understand, and you give it a try, because they're fun. And I don't see this type of card too often. Most of the time I see it in centimeters instead of inches. And so I found good instructions, and then I changed them up a bit and made that card. So yeah, if you have any questions about it, or questions about crafting, or questions about me, or anything like that, feel free to ask. Excited to pull out the ridiculous amount of pattern paper I have and make this beautiful layout. Yeah, I really liked this card for that purpose too, because it helped me use up a sheet of pattern paper that, you know, needed to get out of my stash. If you change the size of the inside of the card to say 4 inches, do you have to change the size of the house? That is a good question. I think 4 inches, you're okay. Let me just take a look, because when I have the legs closed, like when I open my card this way, you can see I've got about 3/4 of an inch on each side of it. So I think 4 inches, you're okay. I wouldn't go much smaller than that though. Yes, it does give lots of options for using pattern paper, and you can give it a try too. I talked about it in the video. Rather than rectangular pop-ups, you can adjust this measurement as much as you want. It doesn't really matter. So you can make them squares too, if you prefer. Squares are a little bit more of a framey effect, if you'd like. Thank you, Andrea. I appreciate that. That is what I am in my day job, so I hope I explained it right. Can the card itself be cut on a Cricut? Anything can be cut on a Cricut. So especially if you're a paid ticket holder, I have a diagram of the measurements and what I cut out. So you could input those into Cricut and just input the score lines, or do the score lines yourself. At the end of the day, this card is literally 2 rectangles and a card base. So I don't see the need to pull out a Cricut, but you can if you'd like. So Alicia hasn't found the actual class. If you go to stressfreecardmaking.com/schedule, it's the first thing on there on Friday. So you'll have to scroll a bit past the Thursday and get to Friday. It's the first one on there. Okay. Hello, everyone. So make sure you have your questions going, because our speakers kind of leave when there's no more questions. So if nobody has questions about the card or crafting in general or anything like that, then I'm going to sign off. So what was the sentiment selection you used? The Beyond Happy sentiment. It was a Pink Fresh Studio. I don't know the set name off the top of my head, but I do have it linked in the, whether you're a free or paid ticket holder, you can download the supply list, and it's linked in there if you want it. But you can use really any sentiment you want. There's no need at all to use what I used. But I do like the Pink Fresh sentiments, because I find they, for whatever reason, I'm die cut not savvy, at all. I always mess it up, and my dies are crooked. And for some reason, these hug the words so nicely that it's easy for me to die cut. I don't know why. Where do I find my fun fold ideas? A good question. So sometimes I'll just type in fun folds on Pinterest and see what comes up. A lot of Instagram reels those go too fast for me personally. So sometimes I go to Instagram and I see what it's called, and then I'll look it up on YouTube because it goes at a more slower pace. And I find, because I follow a lot of German crafters because I live in Germany, they're really, really into like mini boxes and interactive cards and fun folds. And I find a lot of them post really great tutorials that way. Mostly Instagram reels is how I discover them. What is the most successful card weight to make this card and have it hold up to the movement? Mine is just, mine's Concord and Ninth. I believe their cardstock's 100 pounds, I think. Maybe it's 80. And I find it's super sturdy. Like there's no issue whatsoever. It can sit by itself, no problem. I've opened and closed this a million times filming, and it's not an issue whatsoever. So I think you'd be okay with 80 pound up to 100 and 110 might be a little too thick, but that would also be very sturdy. And you also have the piece of pattern paper on the front, which thickens things up. So Linda, you couldn't find the supply list. It's right underneath the video. So if you're a free ticket holder and you've gone to stressfreecardmaking.com/schedule, if you click on my presentation, it's right underneath the video. There's a button to download it, and you can download it there. If you're a paid ticket holder, you go to stressfreecardmaking.com/classroom, log in, and there's a start here section and the whole workbook's there. And every speaker's presentations are in there. So one of the perks about being one of the paid ticket holders is you don't have to download each list individually. It comes in all one book, which is kind of nice. I cannot discuss GSM versus pounds because I have no idea. Yeah, I'm not going to even attempt it. Sorry. I think Ralph Tyndall did a really good video on paper weight explaining it. And a lot of the times what I do know is that even though it could be 80 pound, it's different thicknesses based on company. And I think the GSM is the more important number. I think that's what it is. So hopefully that's helpful. Do you think this would be good for a bulk card making day? I would say it depends on how many you need to make, Dawn. I think 10 is super realistic because you're just cutting out like 2 strips of rectangles plus the card base and then doing the fold. And in all honesty, it took me maybe 20, 25 minutes to make it. And if I was making it all in a row, I would obviously remember as I'm going what I need to do, and it would get a little bit quicker than that. So what I would do is I would do all my cutting first, and then I would mark all the lines, and then I would do all the folding so that I would have an assembly line going. Rather than making one card from start to finish and then keep going that way, I would do each step individually, and I think 10's realistic. Do you think this card will need extra postage to mail? Oh, Sue, that is a good question. It really depends on your country and how much weight you're allowed. I know this would not be an issue whatsoever in Germany for extra postage, but I don't know based on different countries how that would be exactly. You could reduce the thickness of the paper or maybe not include the belly band to make it a little less thick, and that might be helpful. I heard you say that you can vary the 3-inch size. Can you give a general range, as small as 2 inches, as large as 4 inches? Yeah, so you have, I think just judging by this, I probably wouldn't go smaller than 2 inches, you're right. And I mean, technically you can go even longer if you wanted to. I mean, I wouldn't go like maybe an inch longer. I probably wouldn't go more than that. I mean, at the end of the day, that house has to fit, and you've got about a good inch still of space in the card. So you could vary that measurement up a little bit. Okay, I see. Did you already make the card? So Stephanie, you have to go to the schedule page. I would suggest watching the kickoff call because it explains exactly how the event works, and I go over the schedule page and how it works. But you have the presentation in the first part, and then underneath you have the live Q&A. So you want to go to the presentation first. You'll see a picture of the card. You want to click on watch presentation before you come here to the Q&As so that you can ask questions about the card. So yes, I did already make the card. Thank you, Susan. Yeah, perfect. Okay. I don't mind personal questions either, Laurel, just in case you aren't sure. How's the baby? Baby Jay is good. He is growing like a weed, walking, not talking too much yet. And he's such a happy baby. He's so sweet. My best tips for fitting in crafting when your schedule's already full. Yeah, it depends on like the age and phase he's in. Like right now, I'm finding it very difficult to craft with him in the area just because he can now open ink pads and he can now open markers and he's just attracted to all those things right now. So I generally craft during nap time or in the evenings rather than having him here in the room with me because most of the time I'm just running after him. What other fun folds do I like to make? I like anything that's not super complicated. This is probably the most complex that I'll get as far as fun folds go, but gate folds are one of my favorites because they're super easy. You more or less just fold it in a different way once you have your card base cut out. I like gate folds. I also like to make those with belly bands. I also like spanner cards. So if you're a paid ticket holder and you're coming to my live class today, we're making a spanner card. I was just checking to see if I have it here on my desk offhand. Oh, it's right here. Oops, I think I pulled my screen. So we're making one of these. So if you haven't got your paid ticket, grab it, come at 3 o'clock, and we're gonna make this fun card. This is another one of my favorites because it's not hard. I feel this isn't stress-free for y'all. Thanks for all your hard work. You're very welcome, Dawn. It's a lot of work to put together, but we really enjoy it once the summit weekend comes. Stephanie, I'm a ticket holder and the classroom sent me here. Yes, you should be here. So yeah, you're okay. When it comes to live events, if they're available for all paid ticket holders, it's always the same link. There's no 2 separate links or anything. So you're all right. Okay, any other questions? Crafty or otherwise? If there's any other confusion about the summit, I can answer them as well. Just if there's no other crafty questions in the meantime, I don't mind taking a few minutes to answer those. That's the nice thing about Laurel and I being first. We can settle up those questions easily. Oh, thank you. I do enjoy it, honestly. I cut back a lot on crafting and other things, but I'm enjoying every minute. Okay. Does vellum come translucent or is it also always opaque? Should I use acetate instead if I want clear? Yeah, so if it is completely translucent, then it is acetate. It's not vellum anymore. Vellum it does come in various thickness, or I don't know how to say it, thicknesses. Like it can be relatively opaque. It can be more of a transparent color. So it just depends on the brand and the thickness of the vellum that you're using. And it's one of my favorite things to use in card making to tone down pattern paper. I have not used liquid text, Judy. Sorry. I think I do have a bottle somewhere though. My favorite kinds of cards to make. I guess genre of cards or theme, Christmas. And I just usually generally like to make A2 size cards, more vertical than horizontal is my favorite. Like as far as the layout goes, not the fold. Oh, thank you. That's so sweet. Okay. I think I saw, is that all the questions? I thought I saw a different one. Let me look. Oh, how do you like living in Germany? It's fine. It's pros and cons to living in any country. Sometimes I'd like to go back to Canada though. Do I have a favorite brand or types of ink? Yeah. I guess. Oh, it's hard to say. Like, so I'm a big, massive Catherine Pooler fan. I use her inks exclusively for the longest time over the years. I do find myself, for whatever reason, my style changes over time, and I do find myself using more colored cardstock these days. And therefore, I also really like Concord and Ninth because Concord and Ninth has coordinating cardstock. So if I know I'm going to be doing a card with coordinating cardstock, I'll pull out my Concord and Ninth inks. And if I'm not, and I'm just doing inking techniques, I'll use my Catherine Pooler. So those are the two go-tos for me. Will the Q&A be available as a video for later viewing? Yeah, so if you go to the schedule page and just click on the button, the link will be there. It will take you right to YouTube and you can watch the replay or you can watch it live depending on what the status of the video is. Tell me again where you find the workbook. So Amy, it depends if you're paid or free. So if you're free, you don't have a workbook. You have under each speaker presentation, it'll say download supply list, and you can download. It'll have a photo of the card, the speaker's name, and the supply list. If you go, and that's at stressfreecardmaking.com/schedule, those is where you find all the presentations. If you're a paid ticket holder, you go to stressfreecardmaking.com/classroom, and it's under start here. Yes. So I don't know what you mean. If you see the video, I don't know what you mean by tutorial because the video is the tutorial. So if you're on the schedule page, hold on. I think, you know what? I think the easiest thing to do is for me to just share my screen for a second, just to clarify that for anyone and clear that up. So let me just share my screen. So I hope that's all working. So once you go to the schedule, okay, there's two sections for Friday. So this is where you watch my tutorial under watch presentation. It shows a picture of the card and it shows all the speakers for today. And here is where you come and watch the Q&A. It has specific times, right? So if you click on watch presentation and you scroll down, you have the video, click play, and it will be there. And this is where I was talking about with the download the supply list button. Okay, so that's where you watch the video tutorial. So hopefully that's helpful. Yep, I find that sometimes summits can be a little bit confusing, especially if it's your first time. So we like to give our instructions nice and clear. So did the CP inks coordinate with the Concord and Ninth papers? They do have some colors that are pretty close to each other, not all, but they do have several that are pretty close. The best thing you could do, what's nice about Concord and Ninth cardstock is they do have an assorted cardstock pack where you get 1 or 2 sheets, I think it's 1 sheet of each color, like all 50 of their colors or whatever. So if you order one of those packs, you can compare them to your Catherine Pooler inks, and then you could order individual packs based on, you know, how often you would use that color. So that's something that I personally do. I ordered like, I think 3 or 4 of those assorted cardstock packs. So I had 3 or 4 of each sheet. And then I only allow myself to order like a 10 pack of that color if I've used that up, because you'll really notice that there's a lot of colors you don't use in your crafting. Mine would be like artichoke, like, or avocado, I think is one of them. Those colors I generally don't use. So those 2-3 sheets that I have for the odd occasion I might need a color like that are totally sufficient, usually for years. And then I just go and buy a 10 pack of my most popular colors. And that just helps me kind of save on space. As a paid member, will there be a way to access your live class for later today? I may not make it live. Yep. So if you just click on the live class in the classroom, you can watch the replay at any time. It'll take you to YouTube and you'll be able to see it. Is there a specific brand of acetate you use? I've never used it. You know, there is a ton of different types out there. I have used Lawn Fawn, which was good. It's heat resistant. And I have used Hero Arts. Hero Arts come in card panel size, which is nice. And that's heat resistant as well. So I always look for heat resistant acetate so I know I can heat emboss on top of it without having to think and worrying about melting plastic. Those are the 2 brands that I've personally used that I like. If you don't care about heat embossing on top of it, you could just use any plastic packaging, like from stamp packaging to different things that you might have around the house, food packaging. Why am I in Germany? My husband's from Germany, so that's why I'm here. And Monique, yeah, that same thing goes with the live in the afternoon. I see your little post there. You'll be okay. So there's some tips for keeping your vellum from curling. Thickness will obviously play a role in it, because it will be able to tolerate a little more heat. So what you will notice when you're heat embossing on top of vellum is, compared to paper, it melts like 10 times faster. So literally, once your heat gun is heated, like I let it go for about 45 seconds to a minute before applying it to the vellum or to paper when I'm heat embossing. And honestly, once I hit the powder, it melts almost immediately. And I just keep moving the heat. So I make sure that I'm moving my heat gun like the whole time. I'm not just having it like on my paper like this and letting it, warp. I'm constantly moving the heat gun, and I'm moving it the second I see that it's melted. And it honestly just takes a second or two on vellum. It really, really is super quick. So you don't need to use a lot of heat to melt heat like powder on top of vellum. It will just take you a couple seconds to do a whole panel.
Boo! Good morning.
Hello.
If there are no more questions for Justine, we can let her go get on with her day. One more. How do you decorate the inside of your cards?
I did a whole video in my VIP group on how to decorate the insides of cards. There's a whole bunch of ways that you can do it. And what I would suggest, the quick summary of my video, is keep the supplies out that you use to make your card. Generally, you can decorate the inside of the card. So if I did ink blending, let's say on the front, I might do a little ink blending, let's say at the bottom of the card, or like a little strip. If I've used a certain stamp, I might stamp it in very lightly as like a background on the inside of the card. Obviously a sentiment stamp, especially like Riley and Company. They're so funny. One of the sponsors of the summit. Other ways that I decorate the inside, yeah, I just try to pull kind of things that I've used in the front. So if I used a piece of pattern paper, maybe I'll put like a strip of pattern paper on the inside. I generally just use the same supplies I used for the outside of the card. Is there a PDF for the mechanism? No, you have to watch the video. I do have in the workbook, like I have the measurements and with the score lines and everything like that, but trying to put that into like a diagram of any kind was so complicated. It's just much easier to just go to the video and watch it. Do I have a favorite white pen? Yes. So I find gel pens, in all honesty, regardless of the brand, I think my favorite's Jelly Roll. But at some point, they all don't work. Even if it's just for that one time, it might work the next time. So I love Posca pens, Posca. They're paint pens, and I find those to be a whole lot more reliable than a gel pen. And that's what I personally use. They're pigmented. They're like paint. They are paint. So you don't have to worry about it like fading into your cardstock or turning kind of a gray color or anything like that. It looks good every time. So that's my favorite. I just want to address seeing in the comments about Hero Arts closing. I don't think that's true. I just saw them have a design team call today, so I don't think that that's true. They have amalgamated with Spellbinders, but they're still the same. Like they're still their Hero Arts brand. I just like to clarify that, just because I think that when we say companies are going out of business, it could really hurt them if that's not the case. So I just wanted to clarify that quick. All right.
Okay, you guys, thank you so much for bringing all your questions to Justine. Justine, thank you for being here.
You're welcome. And I will see all the paid ticket holders this afternoon to make a really cool spanner card.
Yes.
And I'll see you every day this weekend, because we're going to be crafting together every day.
The next Q&A coming up is actually me at 10 a.m. So in 35 minutes, I will be back. Can't get rid of me. So everyone, enjoy the summit, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.